close. He lays out and makes the catch.
And we're back for another episode of the Double Switch podcast. Johnny, I have one question for you. How do you feel about the 2023 Atlanta Braves?
Well, I hate them.
Why do you hate? Why do you hate the Braves? That's not nice. Hate's such a strong word, Johnny.
Because they're great.
They're so good, dude. They're so.
I can admit that. You know, I can in my hatred, like my mom's watching me watch the game, and she's like, "Why do you hate Spencer Strider?" I'm like, "Well, he's great. I know he's great, but I hate him. I want to knock that mustache right off his face."
Yeah, I mean, besides some of the Mets players, you have to be really good to even deserve that hate. You know, I mean, I know we have some hate,
especially in Philly.
Especially in Philly, we have hate for some of the mediocre Mets players. But other than that, if you go kind of outside New York City, I mean, we kind of only hate the studs here. And this Atlanta Braves team has a lot of them. And
sure do.
when you're pitching, when you're kind of watching our pitchers navigate through that lineup, you realize how many studs they actually have, because Marcell Ozuna, who I barely even remembered was in baseball, to be completely honest, he's hitting 270 with 34 home runs. That's not just that's Marcell Ozuna. You know, that's like an all-star type stat line. They're insane. And as much as I want to be upset, I'm sure there's a large facet of the fan base that is upset. They're really good. They're going to beat most teams, to be completely honest. The Braves are.
Fair, but I do think it's worth mentioning that we really beat ourselves in that series. I mean, we kept every game close, and we did so much to beat ourselves. I really that whole celebration and stuff. I'm like, that didn't really make me mad. I mean, watching them beat us in games made me mad. But we got to stop beating ourselves. Simple.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the Braves are a prime example of a team that you can't make mistakes against, you know?
No, they capitalize.
Once you get to October, those teams are a lot more common. You know, you can make mistakes against the Nationals and the Pirates and whoever else we've beaten up on over the past couple of weeks, and that's fine. They'll forgive you for those mistakes, but the Braves, you look up and they're up 7-0 before you even realize what happened. And you know, the mistakes, I mean, I think the mistakes you're talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, they're on the pitching side, right? You're talking about mistakes in the strike zone, mistakes, just bad pitches. Because I don't
management know. And
okay. Yeah, I think
how long we keep guys in the game.
Okay.
I think that's kind of huge.
Okay, so you're kind of thinking along the lines of both management mistakes, pitching mistakes, something kind of like that.
Yeah. Really just putting our pitching's struggling right now. Obviously, it's not an easy job to be managing the starters and bullpen right now. I mean, things aren't as good as they have been in the beginning of the season, where we were kind of firing on all cylinders. The coaching staff just has to do a better job putting the guys in a position to succeed.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And I completely agree with that. But at the same time, you're also right in that it's tough right now, because you look throughout this bullpen and the list of guys that you and I trust, let alone Tomper, that list is really short right now. And at the top of it is Jeff Hoffman, who has never really seen the super high leverage situations where we're kind of needing that type of relief right now. Sir Anthony is a complete mess, as big of a mess as I've really ever seen him. Soto has not really put together any sustained success throughout the season. Kimbrel is showing cracks. I know his ERA is up in the mid-3s now. And then you have the fill-in guys like Bilotti and Marte. And, up and down this bullpen, it's getting tough to kind of find that area where you feel good. And you can kind of see it over the past couple of weeks. 3 Bryce Harper game-tying home runs and 3 blown saves right afterwards. And it's reminiscent of the dark days and the days where the bullpen was our worst nightmare, and it's not fun to watch at all.
Nah, I think I jinxed us earlier in the year, just talking about how this is the best bullpen we've ever had, and god dang, it's crazy how things can come full circle like this. But I really do think it's more of a tired arms kind of thing. It'd be nice if we could just pull up 3 young guys that have the freshest arms for this playoff stretch. It doesn't look like we have that luxury, though. So how do we manage this team, Josh? This bullpen? How do we keep them fresh for a October push?
Well, first off, there's a name in our farm system now, and you deserve all the credit because you were the first person to bring his name up that I have ever heard. And now it's kind of becoming like a theme here. I hear a lot of people talking about him, and I don't want to say his name because I'm not sure how to say it. But do you want to talk a little bit about what he could possibly do to this bullpen right now?
Yeah, I mean, Orion Kirkering, I think that's how it's pronounced. But he's got a live arm, and you don't even have to look that too far past that. And his stuff, his command, doesn't walk guys. He dominates the strike zone with his fastball and his slider, and his slider is a plus pitch. I mean, the slider's major league ready, and the command is too. I see it a lot like the Rojas situation. The Phillies saw that he had a major league glove, major league base running skills, and they thought that was enough. They thought he could develop the other things in the big leagues. And I don't see why having a developed slider and a developed pitch command is any different on the pitching side.
Yeah, so have you actually seen that slider? I've never had a look at it. Is it really that good?
Yeah, it's that good. I've had some fun on YouTube.
Well, I guess if he's as good as you're making him sound, I mean, what's the difference between him and Andrew Bellotti right now? I mean, you already know what you're getting in Bellotti. At the very least, I think by the sounds of it, he could give you that, and he could possibly be even better. And he's a fresh arm. You look up and down the bullpen, like you said, these guys are kind of looking a little fatigued, and kind of that jolt that he might be able to provide. It would certainly help. And I think the only dilemma here is 40-man spot. I don't think he's on the 40-man yet, and I know that's always complicated. But no, I think he should be here.
But I think that brings up another conversation as far as are we willing to make moves that are actually going to help us, similar to Rodolfo Castro's situation going on right now. They don't want to lose his options, his minor league options for next year, so they're not going to send him down. But that could be the difference. When you're a playoff team contender like the Phillies, you really can't afford to waste a bench spot.
Yeah, that's one thing, and I don't know how MLB works, but don't you have to be on the 40-man by a certain date in order to pitch in the playoffs? So I might be making that up, but I thought that was.
I don't know. I'm not positive, so I'm not gonna pretend.
Okay. Yeah, that might be 2 of the reasons that we have not seen him yet. He can't pitch in the playoffs, and he doesn't have a 40-man roster spot. But if he can pitch in the playoffs, he should be here, and we should at least have an idea of what we have. I mean, it's to the point in the season, 2 weeks left. You got to figure out what we're going to go to battle with. And, after everything that's happened, we're still in a super good spot. And, we need to win games, but we also need to think farther down the road in terms of what to do once we actually get there. And if we can kind of find that diamond in the rough this late in September, it could be a weapon. And it's an arm that not a lot of people have seen. And, I'm all for it.
Yeah, you summed it up perfectly too. Because I mean, we are going to war when we go to the playoffs. That's the mentality. And what works better than anything? A weapon that no one knows you have. They don't know his pitches. They don't know the shape of his pitches. It's a brand new weapon. It's like an atom bomb.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But yeah, that's one thing that could help. And secondly, this is kind of like a chicken or the egg situation. We got to find a way to take the pressure off the bullpen because unfortunately the offense has been amazing, but the starters haven't really been able to give us those shutdown innings. So I think the starters need to be better. But unfortunately, if you look at the starting rotation, I think the pressure needs to kind of come off of them too because they're struggling. And I think each the bullpen being better would help the starters, and the starters being better would help the bullpen. But how does that like work? You know, like how do you like what's going to happen first? And it's an interesting like situation we're in because something's got to give with one of them. You know,
frankly, we just got to revert back to how we were pitching in May and June. We were getting length from basically every starter. I mean, even Nola was giving us some length. He wasn't really as effective. I mean, kind of like how Chris Sanchez was last night. Dude gave us so many innings, but yeah, he let up 4 earned. But like, that's not giving the game away with this offense. If you can keep them at 3, 4, and just give us a little extra length, it helps us avoid using some of the arms that just don't look like they have a ton of juice this year, like Andrew Bellotti. I mean, some of those. Sir, but the thing with Sir is like we've seen like he's a weird guy to like analyze because
he'll go out and goes.
Like, it does, and I do still think he's the type of guy that like he could flip a switch come like September. I'm just worried about his like mental toughness right now. I feel like he's in his head.
Yeah, I think last year we kind of saw something similar with him because he was awful after he came back from that injury, and then the wild card series came around and he looked like the best pitcher in the playoffs. Like he was that dominant, and it was just like that, and it was so random. But that's part of the reason we're seeing him so much is because they're kind of hoping and praying that he can figure it out. Because you get him right, it's kind of like a cascading effect here, where you got to get somebody right, and then after that, you put them in the higher leverage situations. Someone else is going to get right because their responsibilities are reduced. And suddenly you have a whole bullpen of guys who are comfortable and there's not a ton of pressure and they're able to kind of figure it out. But yes, something's got to give here soon for that to happen. And your guess is as good as mine as to how that's actually going to unfold.
Yeah, maybe rest, maybe tweaking some things. I don't know how we get right, but we got to do it soon.
Question number 2 I have for you.
Hit me.
What do you have more faith in right now, our starting rotation or our bullpen?
Our bullpen.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, top to bottom. Yeah. I mean, I think like guys like because I do still think, even though I have a little bit of doubt right now, Alvarado, Sir Anthony, and Craig, I think they're going to be fine come playoff time. I think they do have that dog in them. I think Sir Anthony has a hard time finding that dog in him, but it's there. But I'm worried about the depth of our rotation right now. I have no idea. I don't trust most of the guys in a playoff situation.
Yes, so the one thing the bullpen has going for it is they have the stuff, which is half the battle. As for the rotation, Wheeler, I'm not really concerned about. I know he kind of got roughed up against the Braves, but you can't really take anything against the Braves too seriously. They're, like I said, they're really good.
But something a little seriously though.
He looks fine. Ranger, I even feel better about. I know we ended up losing his last start, but I think he's coming around. But after that, and then Christopher Sanchez, oddly enough, I have a ton of faith in right now.
Me too.
Kind of similar to the faith that I had in Bailey Falter at the end of last year. I did trust Bailey like in September. He was giving us quality starts, and I know you might feel that. Yeah, I know you might not feel the same way, but yeah, the sixth man in the rotation 2 years in a row has come up huge, and you kind of start to wonder what it would be like if we didn't have 6-man come up like they did, because 3 names. I'm going to rank them from most urgently like worried about to least. Taijuan Walker, Michael Lorenzen, and Aaron Nola are not pitching good at all right now. Walker is a mess, an absolute mess right now. He has an ERA over 6 in the second half. Am I hearing that correctly? I don't know if you had a chance to look into the stats. That's awful.
No, but I called it at the beginning of the year.
He looks so uncompetitive. You know, it looks like he doesn't go out there and look like he's supposed to be getting like having success. Like when he had success, like it doesn't like look like it should be happening because he's just not pitching well. He looks gassed. He looks unconfident, and this point has been raised so many times already. But he should not start a playoff game as is. Christopher Sanchez is a better option. And I know you agree with that because I know you don't. care much for
Christopher
Taijuan Walker as a
Sanchez.
pitcher right now. Taijuan Walker is just terrible right now.
It's a shame. It is because we paid him to be a guy that can pitch in the game 3 of an NLDS. And it doesn't look like he's going to be able to hold his own in an NLDS game. I just have no confidence that he could stop. I know he's a guy that gets runners on base, and then he kind of gets better getting out of jams. But you don't want to get in jams in the playoffs if you can resist it. And he loves getting in jams. It's all he's ever in. You turn on the TV, he's got 2-3 runners on all the damn time. No confidence going to the playoffs with him. Christopher Sanchez, in the other case, nothing phases that man. He could let up a home run and he could just throw some filth the next pitch. I think it's whatever happened has happened and he moves on.
Yeah, so the big stat that I look at specifically like around this time of the year and into October, whip is super important. Christopher Sanchez doesn't walk anybody. That already limits the amount of base runners he's going to have. He's an extreme ground ball pitcher, which you love to see in the playoffs and against teams like the Braves that can, just go off and hit 5 home runs in a game. You kind of like that profile against some of the best competition. And Taijuan Walker, he doesn't strike out a ton of people. He lets up a ton of base runners. And I think that the best, most clear path forward for Taijuan Walker is similar to what Kyle Gibson did last year in the playoffs. Did you see Kyle Gibson pitch a lot? No. And there's a reason for that. It's because he's the weak link in this rotation. And it's crazy that, that breakthrough that I thought he would have, it kind of never came. We kind of started to see it like May, June, around there. But whatever he found, he just lost it just like that. And now he's gassed and he can't really find anything. And it's a shame. It is a shame.
Yeah, he just can't find the bottom of the zone anymore. And with the type of stuff he throws, you can't live in the top of the zone with that velocity. It's a bad idea. It's a really bad idea. And it's just a shame, honestly, that Taijuan Walker can't just be our locked in number 3 guy. I bet you it gets the front office kind of like scratching their head. They're like, was he the right guy to sign this offseason? Because we didn't sign a guy just to play a Kyle Gibson role in the playoffs. Not for that amount of money.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money, man.
You're not going to want to hear this, but I think about it very often. But we signed him in hopes that he could do exactly what Zach Eflin did for the Rays this year. I know it might not have worked out, but it is annoying seeing him just not be what we hoped and see Eflin
How's
be
Eflin
exactly what he's mid-3s ERA and he stayed healthy, which is
wow, good for him.
That's what we want. That's what we want from Taijuan Walker. And I don't know what the future holds for him because it's just getting worse and worse. And his ERA is approaching 5 this year, and there's 3 more years of that deal. Taijuan's in a rough spot, and equally as rough is Michael Lorenzen, who
I would say rougher.
We've done this so many years where we shop for just the guy who got off to a good start, and we try to kind of not pay a lot and kind of hope that he can continue doing what he's doing. Last year it was Noah Syndergaard. This year it's Michael Lorenzen, and strangely enough, I think Michael Lorenzen's going to play the same role that Noah Syndergaard played last year, which is just weird. It's weird. But he might get a start. I think it's more likely that he sees mop-up duty in the playoffs. I know we kind of hoped he would be like a back-and-forth rotation reliever type guy. I don't know if the stuff's going to play in the bullpen compared to some of the other guys we have. What situation are you using Michael Lorenzen over? Honestly, like a Junior Marte.
I think you could do like a sort of like piggyback with Christopher Sanchez, but I don't think Michael Lorenzen has good splits to any side of the. I mean, he lets up runs to both sides pretty much a lot.
Yeah, there's a world where Christopher Sanchez faces the lineup once and then Lorenzen faces second time around. But it's just you wanted more, and you're not going to get it out of those two guys. And fortunately, Christopher Sanchez did step up because,
Where would
man,
we be without him?
I would not want to watch Game 4 if he wasn't here. And for the record, I'm like fairly certain he's going to get a start in the playoffs. I know Tomper went on 94 WIP and he said that it's going to be Walker, but I think that we're going to just
It's going to be the hot
watch
hand.
watch this season play out, and it's going to be indisputable at a certain point that Taijuan Walker's not the guy for that game.
Josh, I got a question.
Okay.
If Lorenzen and Taijuan Walker continue to struggle the way they have been, and the Phillies are kind of put in a sticky situation, maybe even one of the other guys starts to either gets hurt or, God forbid, or like starts pitching poorly, is Mick Abel an option? Is he off the table this year? He's turned it around his past 3 or 4 starts and looks exceptional. And we don't have many better options.
Yeah, so when you think about like going into a game, like which pitcher profile gives us the best chance to win, it's Mick Abel, 100%. His stuff's already better than Taijuan Walker and Mike Lorenzen. But do you see a world where they bring up Mick Abel to start a playoff game? You have to be sure that this guy has the guts to do that. And I mean, I can't name a single pitcher besides maybe Jose Fernandez in like 2013 who you're confident bringing up and doing that with. It would be certainly unprecedented, but it's interesting. And I think I lean no that it's probably like not an option, but if you're, push comes to shove.
Sounds like you're telling me it's off the table if you were thinking like the Phillies, but you think it should be on the table.
So just think right now, like past couple years, are there any pitchers that came up that you think could have started a playoff game and succeeded?
I just don't know if any. I don't know any that have.
Yeah, it's just so unprecedented.
Teams don't try it a lot, but teams usually get into the playoffs with a much steadier pitching presence than the 2023 Phillies.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't give you a firm answer on that. Do you think it's likely, or do you think it's even possible?
I think it's on the table.
Man, that would be such a dramatic, introduction.
I honestly, I know it's crazy for Mick. That'd be wild, but no better way for a team to show confidence in you than call you up for a playoff run. And frankly, I think if they decide not to call up Orion Kerkering or Mick Abel, I don't know they're completely serious about going all the way.
Yeah, certainly the reliever. I don't think there's any excuse for that at this point. But
no, we got tired arms.
They're being so careful with Mick Abel, and just based off of what they've done, I don't think they have the balls to do it, to be completely honest.
It's so funny though, because like Andrew Painter, like all the vibe around him, like younger, lower in the farm system. They caught up to each other, but the whole conclusion, he could be in the rotation to start the year. He could help us in the playoffs, second half. That was like an open thing the Phillies were talking about. And then Mick Abel, who's not that far off the same caliber as Painter. It's just like, no, that's off the table. 2024. It's like, why?
I've had a chance to look at and watch Mick Abel pitch, but I did watch Painter pitch, and the stuff, like the uptick and stuff, was so obvious that this guy is like it. I don't know if Mick Abel's to that point yet because I haven't watched him.
But you just told me he's better than Taijuan Walker.
That's not saying much at all.
Well, it's saying that he should be in the rotation over Taijuan Walker.
I think you might be better than Taijuan Walker right now.
Josh, I'm doing physical therapy for my right shoulder. There's no way I'm better than Taijuan Walker.
Dude, I see a strong argument for Bailey Falter being a better. Like, if he was still on the team, you could convince me Bailey Falter should get a start.
All right, Taijuan Walker hasn't been that bad, man.
Dude, 6 ERA for half a year?
Well, he does have that.
If he wasn't making $17 million a year and we called him up and he was like a Bailey Falter type role, he'd be out of here.
We would have caught him. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But no, we'll table that till next week because I want to.
What?
Mick Abel.
Okay.
Yeah, keep watching him pitch, and keep seeing how our pitchers keep doing. Because Christopher Sanchez is like here and producing. So everybody's healthy. It's not likely right now, but you never know what's going to happen. So let's just revisit that. And then the third name that I mentioned, don't need to talk about him too much because everybody's done all the talking already. Aaron Nola's not going to figure it out this year. It's to that point. He's not going to figure it out, and it's just going to be a coin flip once he gets that playoff start. What kind of Aaron Nola we're going to get?
I'm so tired of this. Like, he's not going to figure it out. I mean, Aaron Nola's never really figured it out. He's never been a consistent guy. If he can just give us 3 to 4 runs in 5-6 innings in a playoff game, we can still win. It's probably what's going to happen. He'll probably let up 3 to 4 runs, and it'll be a close game, but he'll keep us in the game. And I can't say the same about Michael Lorenzen and Taijuan Walker. That's just the difference.
Yeah, my wish list for Aaron Nola in every start throughout the rest of the season. You just limit those innings where it unravels, and if it's a close game, just limit the opportunity in terms of letting it get away. And if we're up big, just keep the team down. His recent start was his. Yeah, watch it. It's podcast etiquette. You almost broke it.
I got excited, dude. I got excited.
His recent start is not what I want to see. That is my least favorite. I'd rather you give up a game and just work completely out of it. But if we're up 5-1, gut it out and just keep that game. Keep them out of reach. That is don't pitch to don't think of your own personal production. Think of the situation of the game and just find a way to gut it out and give us an opportunity to win. That is the goal for Aaron Nola going forward. And, do I wish this season went better? Yes. Do I think there's a better pitcher in there? Yes. And do I still think that, when we toss him out there, game 2, game 3, is he going to give us a chance? I think he will. And that's the big thing at this point. Just ignore all the season stats because we're on a game-by-game basis. Let's just see some guts here, Aaron Nola, because this is your legacy, and you don't want to go out on a bad note,
I got to mention, I'm not usually a highly critical guy of Rob Thomson, but there's just some situations with the pitching staff where something is clearly happening, like an Aaron Nola unraveling or a Taijuan Walker unraveling, and he just pretends it's not it's not going on. He kind of just like there's a 5th inning with Aaron Nola, right? And the first 2 runners get on. I would fire up 2 relievers immediately. Why he waits for a run to come across to warm up a guy is beyond me. We know that Nola has these unravel innings. Let's learn from it and just get him out before it blows up. I mean, I know that's not the answer anyone wants to hear because it's Nola's fault, but it keeps happening. It's the manager's job to take him out of that situation if he looks like he's about to freaking blow up.
Yeah, 6 straight hits. What else do you need to see? He gave up 6 straight hits in that inning before he got pulled.
It's tendency. It's a tendency that once he gets hit once, it just keeps going. It keeps going. So that first hit happens 4th, 5th, 6th inning. Someone's got to be warmed up.
Yeah, and you're right because it feels like the whole city of Philadelphia, the whole fan base, we are looking at Aaron Nola differently this year, and we're not kind of holding him to that high standard in terms of what he did last year, because we don't think that pitcher is here this year, but I feel like Tomper kind of still thinks it's that pitcher. And he's still giving him the benefit of the doubt, whereas it's to the point now where he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt when you get into those games and you kind of start to see it go downhill. Yank him. And I think it would probably help his psyche too, because he doesn't, he would be limiting the damage to himself,
Yeah, absolutely. I see what Thompson's doing here. You want to instill confidence in your players. I get that. You want, if your manager doesn't believe in you, why are they going to believe in themselves? You kind of thing. And we don't need a guy with lower confidence going into the playoffs. I get what he's doing on a morale standpoint. I really just think I was thinking about it today at work. I was going to text you, but I think Sir Anthony and Aaron Nola are dealing with the same damn head thing.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I think it's a mental toughness thing where they kind of spiral.
Both homegrown guys too.
The Philly way, be a little soft.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's weird. But yeah, the pitching is it's something. I don't know what it is right now, but it's something, and it's not what I want it to be. And hopefully we can figure that out over the last 2 weeks of the season. But other than that, I mean, you look at the lineup, Turner, Harper, Schwarber are on fire, carrying the lineup. Rest of the guys kind of so-so. Castellanos is ice cold. He's been rough.
Yeah,
but
his cold streaks are unbearable.
Yeah, it is rough right now, and he's batting towards the bottom of the lineup, and it's not the best time of the season to put yourself in a position where you kind of have to figure it out. But he's been bad for a while, and hopefully he can get going. The young guys, Marsh, Bohm, Stott, they're all kind of fine. JT is he never really made that big breakthrough, but he's been good enough, so it's okay. Solid. He's been really good on the road. We haven't really touched upon the splits. Been amazing on the road, bad at home. Don't know what that means, but the offense is fine, and I wish that these amazing offensive games that we have kind of resulted in some more wins, but that's just not the way baseball works. And you got to pitch and you got to hit, and it's got to be a formula, and it all has to work together, and it's not quite working as well as it has in the past right now, but I still have faith. Just stay the course.
Yep, absolutely. There's not nearly as much to be concerned about on the offensive side of the ball. Just need a couple guys to kind of get going at the right time. I mean, baseball's streaky. We know this. We need guys like Castellanos and Marshy to get going right now. And once they do, we all know what this lineup can do once they're clicking. It's dangerous. And my only other critique is get Weston Wilson up and get Castro down now. We want a right-handed power bat? You're kidding. Castro, get out of here. That's about as far as my concerns go. I'm shaking this Braves series off. We'll let them celebrate. They're not going to win a World Series.
Yeah, 3.5 up now in the wild card race. Game and a half up on the Cubs, who thankfully are kind of slowing down a little bit. And then, there's that buffer zone. I was looking at the numbers, and I think there's 16 games left. Like if we go like 8-8, someone has to go like 13-3 to tie or something. So we're in a good spot. I'm not thrilled about going to Atlanta next week on the road, 4 against Atlanta. Not thrilled about that.
Well, we better get thrilled, and we better show up. They're not in. I don't know how people looked at that series and think they're impossible to beat. I mean, we came close to beating them every single game.
Yeah, but we lost 3 out of 4, and their bullpen was awful.
We did. Their bullpen not good.
Was awful.
It's not going to get better. That's the thing. They have a weakness. We saw it. It's there. If we can make their pitchers throw a lot of pitches and get to the bullpen early, that's our formula for success.
Yeah, the key to that, to beating that team, and then with the way it currently lines up, I mean, we're probably not looking at them until the NLCS, so it's not even like we have to start thinking about that. But you have to keep them close. You can't go out there and you can't give up 4 or 5 runs to start the game because they ambush you. They put you on your heels and you're playing defensive baseball the rest of the game. And that's the way they win ball games. They just mash. And it's going to come down to our pitching, or whoever's facing them. The pitching is going to be key in that series like that. And I'd like to see them go up against a team with really strong pitching. I don't know if such a team exists right now because their offense is like the best I've ever seen. But if they run into a team with really good pitching, yeah, Corbin Burns, Woodruff, that would be interesting.
Freddie Peralta's nice.
Yeah, that's a potential NLDS, that would be a good series.
I think so too, and they have a pretty solid bullpen still.
Yeah, Williams and that's a good one. I'll keep my eye out for that. But yeah, I'm not thrilled to face them next week, and I'm also not super thrilled to face the Mets 7 times in the last 10 days. They're
going to try to kill our season.
Yeah, that sounds like a trap.
It's a trap.
But we're in a good spot, and just split the rest of the year. Go 8-8, and just find a way to get in at this point because
don't go 8-8. Win a lot more games than that.
With the way we're playing right now, just let's go 8-8. Just
no.
We'll be all right.
Go undefeated. I hate all these teams. Destroy the Mets and the Braves. I hate them. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, 2 weeks. It'll go by fast.
If you guys are still listening, go Birds tonight.
Yeah, go Birds. And I think that's a good way to end because I think we kind of got our message across. Win.
Yep.
Win and
just win. Don't do this sketchy thing that we did last year. Just win.
Yeah, like the man said. But with all that being said, as always, thank you guys for listening. Kind of coming to a close to our second season now, and it's crazy we've been doing this for 2 seasons, but I know we have kind of a loyal listening, and we thank you guys for your continued support. And if you're a Birds fan, go check out Pick Swap Media and the Beef Up Front podcast and college football, all kinds of stuff coming up, bunch of sports going on, and they will be kind of reporting on all of it. So go check them out, and we will be back soon, and hopefully we will win more than we lose by that point. So thank you guys.
Go Phils.